that helps us not only to purify the mind. What does it mean by purify the mind from the impurities? What are those impurities? Fear, anxiety, frustration, duality, conflict, grief, etc. They are known as the impurities of the mind, and they are also known as the enemies of the mind. Nobody told you that when your guy sends you a text you should be scared, but you got scared. You had fear. Nobody sends you a text or email that, hey, you have to be in fear, you have to be in anxiety, you have to be angry. Nobody sends you, but still we do it. So it means there must be some cause. So if we remove that cause, we discover how to think, speak, and act, or how to perform an action in the world outside. So one is action. That action is known as karma in Sanskrit, in Upanishads. So our journey in the step number 2 is how to move from the karma to karma yoga. So much so that all our actions in the world purifies the mind rather than makes me scared, fearful, frustrated, anxiety, angry, upset. Pay attention. What is the second step? Second step is how to perform the action in daily, personal, professional, social life that will purify the mind, one, and second, that will help me to live in peace, calmness. So on one hand, there is a purification of the mind. Because of that purification, we can move to the third step. We are studying and understanding the 40 steps to the self-discovery. That is our goal today. Now, before we move further, what is the goal of the life? The goal of life is only one, to find the real self. What is the common desire of all the human beings? Or you can say, what is the common desire of all the living species? There is an inner urge to find the permanent peace, happiness, love, truth, and wisdom. So what will happen? That brings us to the third question. What is the end of the suffering and awakening to? What is the end of the suffering and awakening? How we can use one word? That one word is known as nirvana, salvation, self-realization, mukti, moksha. There are many words in Upanishads and other traditions. So that is the third question. What is the fourth question? Fourth question, what do you mean by nirvana? What do you mean by salvation? What do you mean by moksha? So one-line answer. We will explain it later in detail. One-line answer is self-knowledge. Nirvana is self-knowledge. Kaivalya is self-knowledge. Awakening is self-knowledge. Self-knowledge, not others' knowledge. Self-knowledge. So what is that self? Self is the real self. What is the real self? Real self is a pure consciousness of the nature of peace, happiness, love, truth, and wisdom. Complete knowledge and complete ignorance. We have no problem. In complete knowledge, in complete ignorance. What is complete ignorance? When you do not know the world, you do not know the body, you do not know the mind. we enter into that state for a couple of hours in deep sleep. You have no fear, in complete ignorance. That is why the ignorance is known as bliss. Ignorance is bliss. But that ignorance is very dangerous. And the complete knowledge is also bliss. What is complete knowledge? There is always a fear of unknown. There is no fear of the known.
Yeah.
A criminal and a surgeon both carry a very sharp knife. So at the outer level, when the criminal uses the knife, it is known as stabbing. The same knife is used by a surgeon, which is known as operation. So only is it different in expression, but they both attack the stomach. So when the criminal attack, we say it is stabbing. Surgeon attacks, we say, okay, no worries, you have no fear at all. This surgeon is 20 years have experience. And what about if the criminal has 20 years of experience? They both use the knife. What I wanted to tell you, their action outside seems similar. But because of their attitude in the mind, makes these two act different. Even if the criminal says, you lie down, let me, are you not giving me all the money that you have? No, I'm not giving, so I will just do the surgery of your stomach. And you are filled with the fear. But replace the guy with the surgeon. Okay, thank you. Attitude. Mental state. Mental state, attitude, motivation in the mind makes the action different even if they look same. What we are talking? We are trying to understand how to perform action in our daily, personal, professional, and social life so that we can get rid of the fear. That is our second step. So goal is to purify the mind. Oh, karma action can purify the mind? Yes. How? When that action becomes the action supported by yoga, inner mental state, attitude, and motivation. I think it makes you clear by giving an example of a surgeon and the criminal. They both use the knife. Outer activities, outer action are same. So if you make a statement, a surgeon stabbed the knife, you say you are making a joke. He did a surgery to you.
Yeah.
But when you say the criminal did the surgery on your stomach, what happened? Who attacked you? Action is the same. Attitude, mental state, motivation is different. So if we have a positive attitude of every action, there are three types of action: thought, speech, and action, physical action. So behind thought, speech, and action, if the attitude, the mental state, and the motivation is clear, You have nothing to fear. You have nothing to fear. No issue. No worries. Why? You have done what is right and good. Because motivation is to do what is right and good. We will understand what is right and good in our personal, professional, and social life. So once we understand that and we start performing our action daily in our life, the life calms down, it purifies the mind, it prepares us for a journey. Now, interesting, you have to pay attention, total focus to understand that what makes my motivation, what makes my mental state, what makes my attitude change so that I experience fear, anxiety, frustration, duality, conflict, stress, and suffering. You have to pay attention. Yes, I'm going to repeat it a couple of times, but you have to pay attention. Take an example. You wake up in the morning. You become aware of the world outside. Everyone becomes aware of the world outside. But the mind that lives in ignorance, that wakes up, perceives the entire world outside, mind gives the world a reality status. It is real world. The moment it gives the reality status, the same mind with an I thought separates the world from you. The moment it separates the world from you after giving a reality status, the same mind starts searching peace and happiness in the world. Because world is different, because the world seems to be real, so I have to run. My mind starts wandering here and there, and it causes the impurity in the mind. Understand it again. I gave a reality status when I woke up to a beautiful girl in your case that happened in the past. You gave a reality status to the girl, so that girl is separate from you, so your mind says I have to run after her to secure peace and happiness, but she is not responding, so you have a fear, frustration, anxiety, duality, conflict. That applies to every action in our life. You wake up in the morning and your project is incomplete. Mind gives that project a reality status. You hurry up. Your action starts. I have to complete the project in order to give the money because that money contains happiness. You can apply this principle anywhere, in any action in your life. You have to listen to this again and again. So when you give a reality status, you find the world is separate. The moment it is separate, the mind says happiness lies there. So mind says now is the time to act and make an effort, start running, becoming fully busy. We have been fully busy every day until death without finding the permanent peace and happiness. Why? Because the permanent peace and happiness are not located in the world outside with any person at any time in any celebration. Because we have already given a reality status, so I have to rush. What is this state of the mind? ignorance. But this ignorance is incomplete ignorance. We have certain knowledge. Total ignorance is bliss. You become totally unconscious. So I'm confused. Conflict, fear, anxiety, duality, etc., etc. enters in our life from the backdoor entry. You don't want to be angry. You don't want to be upset. It enters from the back door. No one wants to be angry, upset. No one wants to drain their energy. But why this anxiety, fear, duality, and conflict enters from the back door? Because I have given the world a reality status. And I am rushing towards the world to secure peace and happiness where it is not. So I live in delusion. When we think, speak, and act in delusion, in emotional dependence, the result is always fear, anxiety, duality, conflict. So they enter from the back door. I am responsible for it. This is known as the human conflict. This is known the human. You have to come. You have not only to listen to this talk again and again, but every day you have to reflect on. The moment you have anxiety, fear, this is the reason. Only the reality status given to the world. What is one thing that is real in this world is the real self, is the pure consciousness which is unchanging. Or you can understand, you can tell your mind that what is not changing, what is ever existence, what is timeless, that is the only thing that is permanent, that is the only thing that is real, the rest is unreal. Fear comes because of these four factors. It is unreal. Anxiety is unreal. Duality is unreal. Conflict is unreal. No, but I experience it. It is a delusion. No, but I experience it. Oh, you also experience a very fearful and scary dream and you wake up. So when you wake up, you are sweating. But still it is a delusion. It is not a fact. Same state is repeated every day in our life. What kind of a life we are living, I do not understand. We are living our life in delusion. That is why we have a conflict, we have a confusion, we have a duality, we have a conflict. Problem does not end there. Because whatever I have experienced in delusion, the way you told me you experienced the fear yesterday, this fear creates a bruise in the mind. Where I said grooves, it creates an impressions in the mind. These impressions are accumulated. These impressions have been accumulating over so many years because we are living our life in ignorance. And they are deposited in a storehouse. In our Upanishad, it is known as a reservoir of impressions, a pond of the impressions. They remain hidden until their impact is known. So when they are hidden, they are known as the sins or the virtues. If I perform a good act without any fear, without any frustration, so they are the merits. They are also deposited in that storehouse known as merits, and demerits, they are known as the sins. They are also accumulated in the same reservoir. So yesterday's fear manifested manifest fear, experienced fear, the cause was the sin that you committed in the past. So something triggered from that reservoir, and that was a sin. It manifested, it related itself to a particular event, and that is where you felt the fear and you called me. What should I do? Second step, don't forget the second step. Second step is how to perform the action in my daily, personal, professional, social life. Goal? That I perform every action in my personal, professional, and social life to purify the mind. Why to purify the mind? What will happen? I will accumulate virtues, I will accumulate merits. I will dissolve the sins that attacks me from the back door. That is the journey. Second step, that is known as karma yoga. One is karma. Karma means action. We are performing all our actions. We are performing all our actions based on attitude we don't know, the mental state we don't know, motivation we don't know. So we are ignorant from where the action, thought, the speech and action are expressed. But if I know it, I accumulate virtues and the merits. We talk of the sins and the virtues in religion. Sins and virtues are invisible. Their impact is felt. So because of that impact, we can indicate, we can point out, this event, this condition in my life is because of the sins I committed or because of the virtues I committed. One-liner. Every condition, every favorable situation, condition, relationship, every favorable good time is because of the virtues that I have accumulated in the past. Every unfavorable condition, crazy situation, relationship, anxiety, fear, duality, and a conflict is the result of the sins that I have committed. I have explained sins. Nothing is mystic. Today I had a fear or an anxiety that is accumulated and that goes deep down into the storehouse of the memory. They become the sins. I have already made you explain. It has nothing to do with, nothing is ignorant. We are very clear about it. Karma to karma yoga. And also we should understand, my friend, that we are known by our actions. You may have, you say, no, I had a right, very good, right intention. I did not mean it. Nobody looks at it. Everybody looks at it, whether you are stabbing the stomach or whether you are doing a surgery. They will understand by that. They will understand by your action. You are not a doctor, you say that you are doing a surgery, it will not fit you. No, you are stabbing. Cop can kill the criminal. You look at the action. I cannot kill the criminal. I am a citizen. I can complain. I can go to the law. me and the cop, you and the cop, both are the same human being. That we need to understand. And once we understand, that helps each and every action in our life, purifies the mind. You live fearlessly. Where is the point? We are known by our actions. Even if you say 1,000,000 times, I had no bad intention to say you this, but you have already become angry. You have already slapped a person. So you will be punished because of that slapping. What it means? We are known by our actions, and we slapped or we abused or we reacted to someone because of those sins and virtues. From the back door entry, they triggered you. You don't mean to react, but still you reacted. You don't mean to be scared, but you got scared. Do you see that? It comes from. So once we have to clean that system, the internal system, not the outer physical system. Physical is what the physical is. We are known more by our actions than what we think inside. All our actions are expression of the memories stored in the storehouse, converted into two categories, sins or the virtues. Those impressions accumulated decides our thoughtless actions. Fear is a thoughtless expression. Reaction is a thoughtless action. Understand this. What is the beauty of the understanding? Our vasana is another name. Sanskaras, previous past impressions, I have categorized into two categories. There are sins and there are virtues. They are responsible for my thoughtless action. What is thoughtless action? I get scared, I have an anger, I have a reaction, I fight. All the back door entry, my friend. I never mean to be angry. I never want to be scared. It is only the second step out of the 40 steps. If you complete the 40 steps, what is going to happen? We don't know. So what it means now? By karma yoga, we can decrease the power of those sins and virtues manifesting to create unfavorable condition. How? In the intellect. How? By receiving and retaining the knowledge in the intellect and empowering the intellect to choose the right action, to bypass any action triggered by those impressions. So we prevent the mind to get dictated by those impressions. So the step 2 helps us to know what actions are desirable, what actions are undesirable. Thoughtless action of the fear, anxiety, duality, and conflict are undesirable. but you have entered into the fear. So you have created one more impressions. That one more impressions flown into the reservoir of the mind. It is already converted into a sin. In future it is going to convert and express itself into unfavorable condition. We know there is no fear of the known, but still we get scared and we are in fear. Fear results into anxiety. Anxiety creates further impression, and it is a cycle, it is a wheel. That wheel is known as samsara. Buddha says samsara is suffering. So I am suffering because of myself, because of I live in ignorance, because I don't understand. Such a tall, strong, why you go to a gym, you build, so what we say, 6 ab or 8 ab, I don't know, 6 ab, and I could see your hands and arms are so well built. And you say you are fearful? So yesterday when you called me, I was laughing inside. I said, oh, this guy, such a strong build. At least you can fight with 3 and 4 people easily. And that person is scared. I can understand that. It is the sins. So we are studying and understanding step 2. What is step 2? We have to change this karma to karma yoga. Why? We have to purify the mind. We have to prevent those impressions, those sins to manifest. We can minimize the impact, and gradually we can remove those sins. We can accumulate the virtues in our life in every thought, speech, and action. That is the step number 2. We always act in a waking state. Waking state, that life is action and action is life. You go to the restroom, that is an action. You eat, that is an action. You speak, that is an action. You talk to someone, that you pick up the phone, that is an action. You do your professional activities, that is an action. So action is life, life is action. From a small act, so-called, to a big act in the business. And behind every action there is a desire. Desire to clear my bowels, that's why I go to restroom. Desire to eat food, that's why I go to the kitchen. Desire to go to the professional business to unwind. Desire is always there behind every action, whether we know it or we do not know it. When we do not know what is the motivation behind the desire, it means I am ignorant. I want to get out of the fear, so I don't know what prompted me to be scared. Who made me enter into the fear or anxiety or a reaction, because it is a thoughtless action. So every thoughtless action is supported by the sense and virtue. Not very big principle, but from the second step, I will not touch that area until we reach to step number 16. This step number 2 has a basis of law of attraction that you might have read. People don't understand it clearly. It has the basis. The basis have been taken from this principle, and they have twisted and made the law of attraction. So we are going slowly. So first thing is clear. Life is action, action is life. Since the wakings, even the sleep is action, even the dream is action. So 24 hours, life is action, action is life. Every action, behind every action, there is one thing, that is desire. Now that desire is a binding desire, it will accumulate sin. That is unbinding desire, that will accumulate virtues. Desire is binding, desire is unbinding. But I don't know. Why? Because majority of the time I perform thoughtless action. I look at the girl and I get infatuated. Binding desire. For example, I'm saying. Do you see that? How easy it is to understand. Binding desire accumulates sins. Accumulates sins, and unbinding does virtues, merits, and they are accumulated, they are present in my system, in the memory system, and we don't know when it will trigger. We don't know, it's an unknown. We do not know. So I'm going for a business, and all the merits will manifest, and I'm talking in a way in that group that convinces everyone, and you are set to grow your business. We do not know when these sins and virtues manifest. So karma yoga makes these good impressions manifest all the time. Are you understanding? Impressions manifest all the time means what? I live in peace and happiness. I live in peace and happiness, in creativity. Wherever I go, are you getting it? That is the meaning of the so it means that karma yoga not only purifies the mind, but also helps me excel in daily life. So I do not have thoughtless action. Simple thoughtless actions are impacted by the sins and the virtue. So someday you are good and you go and casually talk, even though it is a thoughtless action. So impact is coming from the merits, and you feel that you have succeeded in business, in today's project, in today's talk and the discussion. No, you are not responsible. Your past virtues are responsible. Where is the reason we get upset with our action, even if intention is just the opposite? That is the same answer. Where is the reason to get upset with our action, even if our intention is right? And meaning so our Upanishads gives another word for it, that am I sure that motivation, mental state, and the attitude in the mind takes me on the path of the Shreyas before I act. Or it is prayers before I act. If it is prayers, means I am doing what I like, what is pleasant to me. In a short term you may get the result, but in the long term you are still accumulating those impressions when you follow the path. I like it, that's why, what's the fun? You told me, I remember, you told me, what's the fun? So after realization we cannot have a pleasure, sexual pleasure. The intention in the mind is different. I'm looking for permanent happiness. Permanent happiness is not there in the sexual pleasure or eating a food or buying a car or having $1 billion. I'm looking something that is beyond all of them. So the path of the prayers and the path of the Shreyas, that intention has to be set in the mind clearly. So do all the impressions are accumulated in my mind every day? Answer is big yes. We are exchanging this Eastern wisdom. This is a good knowledge, good action. So these impressions are also accumulated in our mind every day. They are never lost, my friend. One master says, Nehabhi Kramana Shosti. I'm going to Gita and the Upanishads. I'm repeating from there. It says, Nehabhi Kram Nasto Pratyaya Vayu na Vidyate Nahi Swalapam Pyasya Mehato Trayate Mehato Bhayat. Something like this. The meaning is that listening and learning and understanding and following the path of the Eastern wisdom, that is never lost. One thing, and it saves us from the great fears. I'm not saying, Master is saying. I don't say anything. You are very clear. I don't know anything. Everything. Why should I have a wrath of you or anyone? I give responsibility to the teachers. I will prove. Here it is said. It saves you from the great fears. You are in extreme stressful situation. Something, that light of the consciousness and the virtues keeps burning in you, deep inside you, that shows you the path to how to get out of those difficult times. That is the beauty of the Eastern wisdom. This guy had attended the session. I used to go to his house for at least 3 years regularly. He had 2 sessions when I came to Arizona. When the COVID started, he forgot me clearly, and he followed totally the path of the prayers. He had divorce, and then he had difficult times, and he had to pay thousands of dollars per month as alimony to his ex-wife, because he fought, and $10,000 per month. Can you imagine? No. Living nearby you. I don't want to tell. Then he tried self-medication to resolve all the problems of his life. You know what is self-medication? Over-the-counter medication. In life. What is the over-the-counter medication in life? Enough is enough, honey. I am divorcing you. This is over-the-counter medication. Come on, sit down. Let us find out. Let us resolve the issue. Thoughtless action. So he took so many thoughtless actions. He was totally frustrated. He went to a forest. And I remembered, after every 3 months, I used to shoot one email. I'm in a forest and I'm totally free. Self-medication. I wrote to him that you are awakened. You are realized. I will not respond you back. When I become totally frustrated, so I want to live a lonely life. Because I lost respect, I lost position, I lost recognition in the society. So I want to escape. That escape was also a what I was saying? Yes, I was saying that even understanding and doing the practice, this saves you from a great fear. Those 3 years of his listening and learning from me pushed his mind to contact me again. He started the sessions again. But this time, because I started the journey after what he has already learned. And it was a big surprise. He becomes so humble. He has such a higher level of receptivity. And he wrote to me that you accepted me. I said, no. It is because of those impressions now is showing the impact in your daily life. Now you are more serious. I started teaching him Upanishad. A level must come. I said, no, you are eligible. I have taken almost 10, 12 sessions until now. He has become so much receptive. By the way, a couple of his relations are also my students. So during the last 3 years, I heard so many things bad about him. And previously, the same relations were very appreciative of him. Sins and virtues. I can give you hundreds of examples like this. It happens, I could recall those people. This is a fresh example. All our experiences of stress, suffering, fear, frustration, duality, and a conflict caused by the unknown factor. What is that unknown factor? Merit and demerit, sins and the virtues accumulated in the past. There is another factor also that we will talk later. We have understood this. Is there a way to get out of this trap? Answer is big yes. Eastern wisdom says turn every action into the action yoga. Action means karma. So turn every karma in your life to karma yoga. That is what we are learning. That is our second step. So we will discuss a bit later about this karma yoga. We will continue with all of these impressions cannot express itself. Now see, then only we will connect. You have an impression of fear, you have an impression of anxiety, and tomorrow you meet someone and he looks at you. The first impression is, wow, what a well-built, smart, intelligent guy. He does not see that do you have any fear or anxiety.
So what's your point?
Do you see that?
Well, what are you saying?
My saying, that you need to understand that what lies inside, they cannot express itself. There must be an agent of an action. And that agent of an action is ego. I have to bypass ego in performing all our actions in my life. That is the point I want to say. Nobody knows. Nobody nobody tells that you have a lot of fear and anxiety and reaction and duality and a conflict. Nobody knows whether you are a surgeon using the knife or a criminal using the same knife. Nobody knows. So in US, the first people say the first impressions is the last impression. No, first impression is the worst impression, because the first impression is only the physical impression. I have seen people going to the stage and they're so well built. Their profile says they have 40 years of experience with working with the people. When they go on the stage, their feet starts trembling. They cannot say clearly anything. So that tells whether they have 40 years of experience or they have no experience at all. So that what is inside, that comes out in a variety of situation, conditions, and relationships. That is what I mean to say. All impressions cannot express itself. Who does it? So who does it? Agent of an action is ego. If agent of an action is ego, if agent of an action is ego, then what happens? Then what happens? If action of an agent of an action is ego, it will continue to accumulate. It will continue to accumulate what? Sins in your life. Oh, how can I perform the action without? Yeah, that we are coming. That is the goal of yoga. How can I perform action without ego? That is karma yoga. That is what we need to do. That is karma yoga. That is what we are. That is what we are going to learn in the second step. Do you see that? You complete the 40 steps. You know almost everything about yourself. You have a complete knowledge. Complete knowledge means permanent peace and happiness. So we got an answer that who guides the desires in our life? Desire? Who guides? Who guides? Desires. Desires are of two types, binding and the unbinding desire. So who take this binding and the unbinding desire to an action? Ego. We will understand one more point and then we will stop. Is it okay?
Yeah.
So ego, very good. What exactly is this ego? What the hell ego is? You know, we always talk of the ego, ego, ego. What is this ego? We should understand it clearly. Now you need to pay attention to this. What is this ego? We have three people in us, three being in us. That creates an ego. What do you mean, three people in us? Yes, three people in us. Person number A. Person number A. What is person number A? Person number A in you looks at this guy, looks at the external world. Person number A in you looks at this person, oh, he is a male, his gender. All the first-hand information enters into the person number 1 automatically. You need not to think. If you look at the beautiful girl or beard guy, you know the gender, you can possibly find out, you make out an assumption of the age, etc., etc. Person number A. Person number 1 in you. The moment the person number 1 collects this information, now the person number 2 in you has a certain feeling, behavior, attitude that takes birth in the mind. You cannot have the same feeling that takes birth in the mind when you look at me or you look at the beautiful girl. It is a different feeling. Then what is the person number 3? Person number 1 plus person number 2, they merge together, that is known as ego. That ego is dictated by the past impressions which are unknown to us, which forms the sins and the virtues. So sometimes we find a good situation because of the virtues, sometimes we find an unwanted situation because of the sins in our life. Unless we dig deep inside, we minimize the sins, we increase the virtues, we purify the mind, there is no moving forward in this.